With the era of Flash games finally coming to a close, as they're not going to be supported past 2020 anymore, there's never been a better time to look back at these games as so many of us have fond memories of. I think everyone has at least some sort of experience playing Flash games, if not as a kid some point in their lives. For some people it may have been their first time playing video games, or for me, an escape from the soul-crushing boredom of school, sneakily playing in the back of class. I think it's fair to say if you haven't played a Flash game, you're lying, or you don't have access to an internet connection, and then I have to ask you, how on earth are you watching this video? Getting back to the topic at hand, I can honestly say Flash games have made a relatively big impact on my life personally, as I have many memories of playing these video games on hours on end, and I'm sure you guys can agree with me on that one. The year was 2009. I was in primary school, or whatever you want to call it. I live here in the UK, so yeah, that's what we call it back here. We used to have this thing called Golden Time, where we were given free time to do whatever you want essentially. Young me would always do the same thing and play the same game, Super Smash Flash. Having played this game for a hefty amount of time, I discovered they made a sequel and I could barely maintain my excitement. Discovering new Flash games always felt amazing, as was one of the joys of playing these games. The only downside was that the game was so much bigger and more advanced than the original that I barely got to play it, because by the time it loaded up, Golden Time would be over, and just leaving a little sad me unable to play his favourite game. I spent a lot of time in my early school days playing Super Smash Flash. I remember playing through all the modes, menus and training just to get better so I can go back to school and kick everyone's ass at Super Smash Flash, because that's how we asserted dominance back in the day. One of the greatest things about Flash games was the ability to play anywhere without needing expensive consoles, hardware, new £60 games every day. As you know, we were kids back then and we don't have jobs obviously, so it's very hard to convince your parents to buy you a full £60 game every month, because you know, back then apparently video games was the leading cause for violence.
We must stop the glorification of violence in our society. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace.
I did own a Nintendo Wii and an Xbox as a kid, but that still didn't stop me from playing Flash games all day. As a kid, we would load up games on our school PCs, potato computers. See, our school computers barely worked. Loading up Microsoft Word would be pushing these guys to their limit. I would smell smoke coming from the back of them. I never did have a powerful computer until recently. Surprisingly, even with my fully kitted out PC with controllers, mechanical keyboards and everything else that comes with it, I still do go back to playing Flash games now and again, which may be a tad overkill. Who needs professional and AAA titles with jaw-dropping graphics when you got graphics that look like this? But jokes aside, some of these games actually did look quite good, with each new website having more potential of more games to play, with more hours of entertainment. You had great sites such as Miniclip, Armor Games, Nitrome, and the holy grail of them all, Cool Math Games. I'd just like to thank Cool Math Games here for a minute, and you know, just give it the appreciation it deserves. I mean, it pretty much helped everyone get through school if you think about it. This website got me my degree. Well, I don't have it yet, but you know, when I do. The list of games was seemingly never ending. You get tired of one game, just load up another one. I mean, you had all sorts of games. Knockoff games, fan games, I mean, whatever you can think of, you'd find it. Racing games, RPG games, adventure games, seriously, I don't even know how they made this many. Flash games did have a lot of knockoff and fan games though, which did allow kids like me to play similar games who weren't allowed to play. I mean, I wasn't able to play GTA as a kid, but I used to spend all day playing Stick Life, which was essentially top-down GTA where you get to stab people, and yeah, we get to stab people, definitely the most kid-friendly content. There was also this 2D Mario game that I spent many days playing. This was actually the first Mario game I've ever played, surprisingly enough. How can I talk about Flash games without mentioning Club Penguin? This game was monumental. Imagine a world without Club Penguin. Well, you can't. They tried to kill Club Penguin, but it just came back. It couldn't stay dead. It's that good. Actually, no, one of my friends still plays Club Penguin to this day, which is a bit weird, but hey, don't ask questions. Another aspect that Flash games just topple modern console retail games with, without a doubt, is the value for money. Heck, all these games are for free.
It's free real estate.
Like this industrial era of gaming, where it's pretty much Payment Simulator 2020 at this point. Some of these games have a lot more replay value than you can imagine, and maybe some developers should have a long look and be ashamed and learn a lesson or two. Looking at you, EA. Flash games could do something console games could never do. Their crossovers were just insane, to say the least. I mean, you think Smash Bros. Everyone is here is awesome? Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you have Goku versus Mario. I mean, I know you all wanted Goku in Smash, but we have him in Super Smash Flash, so what more do you want? I mean, you can find Sephiroth versus Master Chief. You have other classics like Bush Shootout, or my personal favorite, Obama versus Zombies. Yes, that happened. Yes, you heard that right. Obama versus friggin' zombies. Everyone seems to get all hyped about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and all the characters it has, but everyone has seemed to forget that we've already been blessed with the greatest iteration of Smash Bros. I mean, look at this. You have Goku, Naruto, Ichigo. I mean, you can have pretty much whatever anime battle you want in this. I'm looking at you, Jump Force. Get out of here. An interesting fact about Flash games that not many people seem to give them credit for is that some really great games that were made today were made from Flash games, actually, like Splunky and Celeste. These smaller projects allowed their creators to scale them up and release them on modern platforms. Flash games gave game developers space to stretch their legs and learn how to make these smaller projects, and games being developed, and this gave programmers the perfect playground for them to learn how to make games. I don't think the game industry would be as big and successful as it is now if young developers didn't have the opportunity to gain skills by creating these games. Again, another one of my gaming firsts. My first fighting game was actually a Flash game. King of Fighters had quite a few Flash games, which I'm actually quite confused about. And to this day, I don't know why. They were way too polished to be fan games, so they must have imported from elsewhere. I mean, whatever it is, I had a lot of fun playing and getting confused on all these Japanese menus in some of these games. But still, it was a pretty sick game to play as a kid nonetheless. I mean, there was a fully fledged Street Fighter equivalent just on your browser that you can play whenever you want. It was pretty amazing. Even though I just said Flash games lack polish, people don't really appreciate the effort that goes into making these games. Making games isn't easy, trust me. This is where I should put a shameless plug about my own game, but it was taken from the App Store because I was too lazy to make privacy policy. Hours and hours are poured into these games, planning, designing, coding, drawing, and I feel like many people overlook this. Making games is a difficult task and can't exactly be done overnight. Some of these games are insanely original and impressive that I often find myself playing them just because they are that good and I can't find anything similar elsewhere. The type of games you'd never find on a console. Swords and Sandals, for example, a game you make a character and fight in a coliseum to get stronger and face more powerful opponents. But my favorite part about this game was probably the glitch that I found. If you name your character with a comma or something, your character will literally spaz out, either become super strong or just die. To be honest though, the quality of Flash games varied quite a bit. I mean, just look at this. But you also had masterpieces like this. There really was a Flash game for whatever you're looking for. Seriously, you have classics like Rescue 6. I heard it was so good they made a sequel on consoles called Rainbow Six Siege. And Avatar The Last Airbender, 3D Racing, there's a whole bunch, I can't even list them all. I mean, there's some zombie games in there, tower defense, strategy, they even have chess in here. Another game I really remembered spending a lot of hours in was called Combat Fighters. Totally not a ripoff of Mortal Kombat. But seriously though, it was pretty insane. You got Multiple modes, a whole bunch of characters, an arcade mode, a shop. That's honestly more content than what you would find in a fully fledged £60 game these days. This is actually quite ridiculous looking back on this all. Oh, and while doing research, I stumbled onto a very old game I remember playing one time. Sonic RPG. I didn't realize at the time, but this was a complete ripoff of Final Fantasy, and it's actually hilarious playing it. You have crossover characters from Dreams and Sega and whatever strange places the creator could think of. And if it wasn't enough, you have some amazing OCs. Also, this dialogue is absolutely amazing. You should definitely check it out for yourself. One of my first experiences with university was actually related to Flash game, funny enough. It was the first class of the day and the start of my computer science degree. I walked into my first lecture, Maths for Computing Professionals or something like that, I really don't remember. The lecture was filled with only a few seats left, so I quickly sat down. The class started and I noticed everyone open up their notebooks, lecture slides and really expensive MacBooks, while I just sat there with my clunky old ThinkPad. I probably lasted around 10 to 15 minutes before my attention span ran out from listening to really boring maths. When I had a better idea, I loaded up one of my favorite Flash game sites and decided to play games or lecture instead. I did have to go back and relearn that lecture, but hey, it was worth it. I then realized the greatest aspect about university, and you can thank me later. I can finally play whatever Flash game I want in class, and no one can do anything. And maybe I can finally get around to playing Super Smash Flash 2. But seriously though, I can casually play games without anyone caring, and thus began my bad habits of playing games in class, which I still do to this day, even though I am a final year student making videos instead of revising because procrastination. A similar story occurred on one of my last days of secondary school or high school, whatever you want to call it. My class was in our IT classroom and we were finally finishing our computer science coursework / assignment for the year. It was a weekend, so we all had to go to school to finish our work. Me and a group of friends completed our work, so we hooked up Super Smash Flash 2 onto the main projector of the room and plugged in 4 keyboards and proceeded to play until we went home. Playing with 4 keyboards was a big deal at the time. I was so used to squeezing 4 players on one tiny keyboard, which is what I used to do at home with my siblings. It's not the most comfortable setup, I'll tell you. Just to prove to you guys I still play Flash games to this day, I have a written record of all my wins in stick badminton versus my friend, which we made sort of a tradition of playing stick badminton since college or high school. I play stick badminton like it's an esport. You thought chess was complicated or CSGO required fast reflexes? Get out of here, you gotta play this game first. Flash games, as strange as it sounds, helped shape me into the person I am today, and was one of the reasons I decided to study computer science at university, and then proceeded to hate my degree because it's so mind-numbing. Just kidding, it's alright. The creativity and freedom game development seemed so awe-inspiring to me, coming up with game ideas and how I would develop my own video games if I could, which actually sparked my own interest in programming and coding and helped me know what I wanted to do from a very young age. It motivated me to learn all about game development, and I spent my school and college days learning to make computer games instead of actual work, which I actually don't regret to this day.